My beloved child, I have been watching you from the silence of the eternal spaces, and I see the weight you carry behind the smile you show the world. I see the way your shoulders drop when you think no one is looking, and I hear the frantic rhythm of your heart when anxiety begins its cold crawl through your chest. I have come to tell you today that your silence has never been ignored. Every tear you have shed in the secret hours of the night, every sigh that felt like a prayer when you had no words left, and every desperate whisper for help has been collected. In the great sanctuary of my kingdom, there is a golden bowl, a vessel of translucent beauty that has been assigned to your life alone. For years, you have been pouring into it. You poured into it when you lost that job and still thanked me through your fear. You poured into it when you sat in the loneliness of an empty room, wondering if you would ever be seen. You poured into it every time you chose kindness over bitterness, even when the world was unkind to you. And now, my precious one, I want you to look up with eyes of faith, for that bowl is full. It is not just full, it is heavy with the weight of your endurance, and at this very moment the golden rim is beginning to tilt. The gravity of my love and the momentum of my timing are causing that vessel to tip over. What you are feeling right now, that sense of transition, that underlying restlessness, is the atmospheric shift of your breakthrough beginning to spill into the physical realm. I know the financial mountains that seem to grow taller every time you look at them. I see the ledgers and the bills that do not match the numbers in your account. Do not let your heart be troubled, for I am the God who provided manna in the wilderness and water from a dry rock. The overflowing of this heavenly bowl carries with it a restoration for your house. I am opening doors that no man can shut, and I am bringing resources from directions you have not even considered. You have felt like a forgotten child in a vast world, but I tell you that the stars are named by me, and so is every hair on your head. Your loneliness is coming to an end, for I am positioning people in your path who will see your heart and honor your spirit. I am mending the broken threads of your relationships and weaving a new tapestry of belonging. The anxiety that has haunted your dreams is being washed away by the gentle tide of my peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding. You have lived in a season of not enough, for so long that you have forgotten what abundance feels like, but I am here to reacquaint you with my generosity. You are not a burden to me. Your prayers are not annoying echoes in the halls of heaven. They are sweet incense that I cherish. I am the Father who runs to meet the prodigal, the shepherd who leaves the 99 for the one, and today, I am the Creator who steps into your timeline to settle the debts of your soul. Do not look at the shadows of yesterday, for they are fleeing before the light of this new morning. Your miracle is not just a possibility, it is an inevitability that has already begun its descent. Believe that I am working in the background. Believe that the delays were not denials, but the necessary time to fill the vessel to its absolute capacity, so that when it tipped, the flood of blessing would be undeniable. Rest your weary head on the pillow of my promises tonight. Feel the warmth of my presence surrounding your bed, guarding your home, and shielding your children. I am your fortress and your provider. The bowl has tipped, the contents are falling, and the landscape of your life is about to be transformed by the gold of my grace. You are deeply loved, you are never alone, and your season of scarcity is being swallowed up by the magnitude of my favor. Breathe deep, my child, for the air of heaven is filling your lungs even now. I see the places where you have tried to patch the holes in your life with your own strength, those moments when you held your breath while checking the balance of your bank account or waited by the phone for a call that never seemed to come. I have watched you in the quiet of your kitchen, staring at the empty chairs that represent relationships gone cold, and I have heard the silent scream of your heart as you wondered if you were invisible to the heavens. But I tell you now, you have never been hidden from my sight. Every sigh you exhaled into the darkness became a pearl in the very bowl that is now cascading toward your reality. Think of the things you have labeled as lost, the years the locusts have eaten, the opportunities that seemed to slip through your fingers like dry sand, the health that felt like it was failing you just when you needed it most. I am the God of restoration, and the contents of this celestial vessel are not merely composed of what you asked for, but of the compounded interest of my love. As the liquid gold of my favor descends, it is touching the dry ground of your finances first. Where there was a desert of lack, there shall be an oasis of provision. You will find that the resources you require are gravitating toward you in ways that defy logic. Unexpected checks in the mail, debts being forgiven by hands you did not even know were holding them, and a divine wisdom that guides your stewardship into a place of overflowing surplus. I am moving in the hearts of strangers to favor you, and I am opening doors in high places that no human hand can shut. But my blessing is not just for your pockets. It is for the very fabric of your home. I am walking through your hallways even now, smoothing the tension that has lived in the air between you and those you love. I am touching the hearts of your children, softening the rebellion and the distance that kept you awake at night. I see the tears you shed over the one who has wandered far away, and I want you to know that the splashing over of this bowl is reaching them too, drawing them back with cords of loving kindness that they cannot resist. The landscape of your family is being re-gardened. I am pulling up the weeds of resentment and planting the seeds of laughter once again. Can you hear it? The sound of joy returning to your dwelling. It is the sound of the bowl tipping, splashing into every corner of your domestic life. I am also reaching into the cellular level of your being. You have carried a heaviness in your bones, a fatigue that sleep could not touch, and a nagging fear that your best days were behind you. I am the great physician, and the ointment pouring from my heart is a balm for your physical frame. I am renewing your youth like the eagles. I am touching the areas of chronic pain and the silent ailments that you have learned to live with, whispering, "Be whole," into the marrow of your existence. You will wake up with a vigor that surprises you, a clarity of mind that allows you to dream again without the fog of anxiety clouding your vision. Remember the dreams you shelved years ago, the ones you tucked away in the closet of someday, because the today of your life was too demanding. I am bringing those dreams out into the light. I am breathing life into the dead things. The bowl is spilling over onto your creative spirit, igniting a fire that will make the world marvel. You were not created to just survive, to just scrape by until the end of your days. You were created to be a conduit of my glory. As the blessing hits the earth of your circumstances, it will splash onto those around you. You will become the source of encouragement for the discouraged, the provider for the needy, and the living testimony that I am a God who answers. Do not be afraid of the magnitude of what is coming. Some would tell you to play it safe, to keep your expectations low so you won't be disappointed. But I say to you, enlarge the place of your tent, lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes. You cannot outtask me, and you certainly cannot outgive me. The delay was not because I was reluctant, but because I was perfecting the timing so that every piece of the puzzle would click into place simultaneously. I was working on the hearts of people you haven't even met yet who will play a role in your breakthrough. I was arranging circumstances in cities you haven't visited yet to ensure your success. This overflow is not a temporary shower. It is a shift in the climate of your life. You are moving from a season of drought and struggle to a season of sustained increase. Even when the world speaks of lack, you will speak of my bounty. Even when others see a wall, you will see a bridge. I am giving you the eyes to see the hidden riches and the secret treasures that have been stored up for this exact moment. Feel the weight of my glory beginning to rest upon your shoulders, not as a burden, but as a royal robe. You are my child, and it is my good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Stay in this posture of receiving. Do not let your hands grow weary in the waiting, for the waiting is effectively over. The first drops are already hitting the ground of your heart, and soon the full weight of the deluge will be upon you. I am turning your mourning into dancing, your ashes into beauty, and your heavy spirit into a garment of praise that will never wear out. We are just beginning this transformation, for there are layers to my goodness that you have yet to even imagine. Keep your eyes on me, and let the peace that is pouring down wash away every trace of the old sorrow. I know the exact weight of every tear that has ever traced the path of your cheek, and I have kept a tally of every night you stared at the ceiling, wondering if I had forgotten the address of your heart. You felt as though your words were disappearing into a void, dissolving like salt in a vast and silent sea. But I tell you now, not a single syllable was lost. Every "Lord, help me" whispered under your breath in the supermarket aisle. Every "I can't do this alone" cried out behind the closed door of your office. And every silent groan of a spirit too weary to find vocabulary, all of them rose like incense, swirling upward into the golden vials that sit before my throne. These bowls have been filling, drop by precious drop, until the surface tension reached its limit. You have lived so long under the shadow of not yet that you have forgotten how to prepare for suddenly. But the tilt has begun. The celestial momentum cannot be reversed. Even as you read these words, the rim of that heavenly vessel is dipping, and the concentrated essence of years of faith is beginning to spill over the edge. This is why you have felt a strange restlessness in your spirit lately, a sense of anticipation you couldn't quite name. It is the vibration of the overflow reaching the atmosphere of your soul. I am touching the areas of your life that you had marked as abandoned or too far gone. Remember that dream you tucked away in a drawer years ago, the one that felt too painful to look at because the disappointment was too sharp? I am blowing the dust off that vision. I am breathing life into the dry bones of your creativity and your passion. I am not just giving you a second chance. I am giving you a new beginning that is untainted by the failures of the past. Think of the person who overlooked you, the one who made you feel invisible in the workplace or within your own family. I am preparing a table for you in their presence, not for the sake of pride, but to demonstrate my favor. I am orchestrating a series of divine interruptions in your daily routine. You will find yourself in conversations with strangers who hold the keys to the doors you've been knocking on for a decade. You will receive phone calls that shift the trajectory of your finances in a single afternoon. I am dealing with the locusts that ate away at your harvest in the years of lean living. I am restoring the years themselves, compressing time so that you achieve in 1 month what should have taken you 10 years. Do not look at your bank account, your age, or your current limitations as the metrics for what is possible. Those are earthly scales, and I am operating on the scales of the infinite. I am looking at the seeds of kindness you sowed when you yourself were in need, the times you gave your last bit of energy to help a friend, or the times you chose to be honest when a lie would have been easier. Those seeds didn't die in the ground. They have been growing in a secret garden, and the harvest is now so heavy that the branches are bowing down to meet you. I'm also working on your inner landscape, removing the thorns of bitterness that grew during the seasons of betrayal. I am pouring a soothing oil over the scars left by those who promised to stay but walked away when the clouds gathered. You will no longer define yourself by who left you, but by who has stayed with you. I am the one who remains. I am the one who stands at the center of your story, weaving every thread of sorrow into a tapestry of triumph. Can you feel the humidity of my presence increasing? It is the sign of the approaching rain. This rain will wash away the grime of the survival mode you've been trapped in. You have been running on fumes, pushing yourself through the motions of a life that felt more like a chore than a gift. I am changing your internal rhythm. I am teaching you the unforced rhythms of grace, where the work is done from a place of rest, not from a place of frantic striving. I am opening your ears to hear the melodies of heaven that play over your life while you sleep. I am clearing the fog from your mind so you can think with clarity and precision, making decisions that lead to peace rather than more complexity. There are people currently being moved into position, like chess pieces on a board of grace, who are destined to assist you. They are waking up with you on their minds, feeling an inexplicable urge to reach out to you, to offer you a hand, or to present you with an opportunity you didn't even know existed. This is the power of the bowl tipping. It influences the world around you to align with the purpose I have placed within you. Do not try to figure out the how or the when with your intellect, for my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. Simply remain in the place of surrender. Keep your heart soft. When the old fears try to whisper that this is too good to be true, remind them that I am the author of truth, and my goodness is the only reality that lasts. We are entering the deep waters now, where the treasures are found. I am taking you deeper into an intimacy with me that will make the noise of the world seem like a faint and distant echo. You are being cocooned in my love, protected and prepared for the moment you emerge with wings you never knew you possessed. The drought is a memory. The deluge is your new reality. The golden lip of the vessel has already begun to spill over its crystalline edges, and what you are starting to feel is the first few droplets of a downpour that cannot be stayed. You have walked through seasons where your prayers felt like they were hitting a ceiling of brass, but I tell you, they were actually being collected as precious incense. Every tear you shed over that broken relationship, every groan for the child who has wandered far from home, every silent plea for your health to be restored, they are all there, mingled with the fire of my altar. Now, the weight of that incense has become too great for the vessel to hold. I am tilting the bowl toward your specific coordinates. Look at your hands. They have been tired from carrying the weight of lack, but soon they will be full of the harvest you didn't even know you were planting. I am addressing the specifics of your life. The conversation you had last Tuesday when you felt so alone, the financial document that has been causing your heart to race, the persistent ache in your body that you've tried to ignore. I am moving in those very spaces. Even now, the heart of that person who has been resistant to your kindness is being softened by a grace they cannot explain. They are remembering the sincerity in your voice, and the walls of pride they built are beginning to crack. You will receive the phone call you stopped expecting. You will see the reconciliation that you thought was buried in the past. My timing is not a delay. It is a deepening. Just as a heavy rain needs the earth to be prepared so it doesn't simply run off, I have been preparing the soil of your character to hold the abundance that is coming. If I had given it sooner, you might have been overwhelmed, but now you have the capacity to carry it with wisdom. Think of the creative projects you set aside because the inspiration seemed to dry up. I am breathing fresh life into those embers. You will find yourself waking up at 3 in the morning not with anxiety, but with a flood of ideas, solutions, and melodies that carry the signature of heaven. I am clearing the path through the bureaucracy that has hindered your progress. Those who sat in seats of authority and said no will find themselves replaced or redirected by my hand, for when I open a door, no man can shut it. You are entering a period of suddenlies. Suddenly, the pain will lift. Suddenly, the provision will manifest. Suddenly, the clarity will arrive. But do not be startled by the speed of the transition. You have been in the womb of preparation for a long time, and the birth of this promise is a natural progression of my faithfulness. I am speaking to the secret places of your heart, the ones you don't even share with your closest friends. I see the dreams you've tucked away in the back of your mind because they felt too big or too impossible. I am dusting them off. I am reminding you that I am the God of the impossible, and the bowl is tipping over those very dreams. Feel the atmosphere changing in your home. Where there was tension, there will be a lingering scent of peace. Where there was silence, there will be the sound of laughter and the sharing of testimonies. I am restoring the years that the locusts have eaten, the years lost to grief, the years lost to illness, the years lost to wandering. They are being returned to you in a concentrated form of joy. This is not a fleeting moment of relief. It is a fundamental shift in your reality. You are no longer the one who watches others receive. You are the one who is being visited by the King. I am placing a new mantle of authority upon you. You will speak words that carry weight, and people will wonder at the wisdom coming from your lips. This is because you have spent your time in the secret place, and what was whispered in the dark is now being shouted from the rooftops through the manifestation of my glory in your life. Do not look back at the desert with longing or regret for the time spent there. The desert was where you learned to lean on me, and that leaning has become your greatest strength. Now, as the waters rise, you will not drown, for you have learned how to float on the current of my spirit. The very thing that used to terrify you will now be the platform for your greatest victory. I am arranging encounters that will feel like coincidences to the world, but are actually divine appointments choreographed by my love. You will walk into a room and find exactly who you need to meet. You will pick up a book and find the exact answer you were seeking. This is the precision of the overflow. The bowl is not just tipping. It is pouring out a river that will wash away the debris of your past failures. I have forgotten them, and it is time for you to forget them too. You are washed, you are sanctified, and you are positioned for the greatest display of my goodness you have ever witnessed. The scent of the rain is in the air, and the first rumble of the thunder of my grace is echoing through your circumstances. Rest, watch, receive. I am making all things new, and I am starting with the very things you thought were beyond repair. The depth of the valley you walked through is the measure of the height of the mountain I am bringing you to. This is the era of the tipped bowl. The sound of the pouring is not a chaotic splash, but a symphony composed over years of your faithfulness. Every tear that fell into the parched earth of your trials was gathered by my hand and placed within this golden vessel. You thought they were lost, evaporated by the heat of your affliction, but I tell you, not a single drop was wasted. They have been transformed in the atmosphere of my presence, distilled into a wine of joy that is now being poured back upon the very soil where you wept. You will see the transformation of your garden overnight. Where there were thorns of anxiety, there shall be the myrtle tree of my peace. Where there was the briar of bitterness, there shall be the fir tree of my vision. I am touching the practical, the mundane, and the everyday details of your existence. I am in the line at the grocery store where a stranger will speak a word that unlocks a mystery you have carried for a decade. I am in the email that arrives just as the clock strikes the hour of your greatest need. I am in the silence of your living room, turning that heavy quiet from a weight of loneliness into a sanctuary of revelation. Do you feel the shift in the atmosphere of your home? The walls that once echoed with the sighs of your weariness are now being saturated with the resonance of my laughter. I am laughing with delight over you, for the season of not yet has bowed its head to the season of it is time. Even your physical body, which has felt the toll of the long winter, is being visited by the quickening of my spirit. I am the God who restores the years that the locust has eaten, and I am starting with the cells of your being, infusing them with a vitality that is not your own. You will find a spring in your step that you thought was gone forever. Your eyes will regain a sparkle that had been dimmed by the dust of the journey. This is not a temporary reprieve. It is a fundamental restructuring of your reality. Look at the finances you thought were a closed book. I am the author of the new chapter, and I am writing abundance in the margins where you wrote lack. I am opening accounts you didn't know existed and releasing resources that have been held in heavenly escrow for this very moment. You are not just being provided for, you are being equipped to be a provider. The overflow from your tipped bowl will run down the streets of your influence, quenching the thirst of those who have watched your struggle and wondered if my promises were true. They will see the moisture on your face and the abundance in your hands, and they will know that I am a rewarder of those who diligently seek me. Think back to that night in October when you felt the most abandoned, when the darkness seemed like a thick curtain that my light could not penetrate. I was there, holding the bowl, catching the silent scream of your soul. That specific prayer, the one you were too tired to even speak aloud, is the one that is tipping the vessel now. It is the weight of that unspoken hope that has finally brought the liquid of my grace to the rim. You will see that I have a long memory for your faithfulness and a very short memory for your flaws. I am looking at the blueprints I drew for your life before the foundations of the world were laid, and I am aligning every joist and beam of your current circumstances with that original design. You might have thought you had veered off course, but I am the master navigator who uses even the winds of adversity to blow you toward your destination. The detours were actually the delivery routes for the supplies you would need for the mountain climb ahead. Now, stand at the trailhead of this new height. Do not be intimidated by the altitude of the blessing. You have been acclimated in the valley of the shadow. Your lungs are now strong enough to breathe the thin, pure air of the heights of my favor. I am giving you hinds feet for these high places. You will move with a grace that surprises even you. Those who spoke against you will watch in silent wonder as you ascend, not because you fought them, but because you followed me. The oil of my anointing is dripping from the edges of the bowl, and as it touches your head, it will run down your garments, sanctifying everything you touch. Your creative projects, the business ideas you shelved, the ministries you thought were dead, they are all being doused in this heavenly flow. Watch as they spring to life, infused with a supernatural magnetism that draws the right people and the right opportunities at the right time. This is the precision of the tipped bowl. It is not a flood that destroys, but a river that directs. It is carving a new path through the canyon of your life, and you will find that the path is much smoother than the one you tried to hack out with your own hands. I am removing the stones of stumbling and replacing them with stepping stones of grace. Rest your heart. The frantic pace of trying to make things happen is over. You can afford to be still, for the water is coming to you. You do not have to chase the blessing. The blessing is pursuing you with a holy intensity. It is the goodness and mercy that I promised would follow you all the days of your life, and they have finally caught up. Take a deep breath of the rain-washed air. The storm of your trial has passed, and it has left behind a reservoir of glory that will sustain you for the generations to come. You are becoming a wellspring, a human manifestation of the tipped bowl, as my spirit flows through you to a world that is dying of thirst. But first, let me saturate you. Let me fill every dry crack in your heart until you are soft and pliable in my hands again. We are only at the beginning of the downpour. Can you feel the weight of my presence settling over the room like a warm, heavy blanket? This is not a fleeting visit. It is an inhabitation. For years, you looked at the ceiling and saw only silence, but I was looking at the bowl. I was watching the condensation of your faith form on the rim. Every time you chose to trust me despite the evidence of your eyes, a heavy, golden drop was added to the reservoir. You thought you were shouting into a void, but you were actually filling a vessel. And now the physics of heaven have shifted. The center of gravity has moved. The weight of your persistence has become so heavy that the bowl can no longer remain upright. It is tilting by my own hand, and the contents are more precious than you can imagine. Think back to that season of profound loneliness, the one where you sat on the edge of your bed and wondered if you had been forgotten. That season was not a desert of punishment, but a season of distillation. I was refining your prayers, removing the dross of ego and leaving only the pure essence of a heart that longs for my face. Those prayers are the ones pouring out now. They are landing on your children, softening the hard places in their hearts that you couldn't reach with your words. They are soaking into the soil of your bank account, which has felt like scorched earth for far too long. I am not just giving you enough to survive. I am giving you enough to saturate others. Look at the no's you received in the past. Look at the doors that slammed shut when you tried to force them open. In the light of this tipping bowl, can you see that they were mercies? If those doors had opened then, you would have entered into a blessing you were not yet strong enough to carry. But now, the water is carving its own doors. It is melting the locks of stagnation. I am bringing back to your mind the dreams you had when you were 10 years old, the ones that were pure and unadulterated by the world's cynicism. I am washing the dust off those dreams. I am showing you that I never discarded them. I simply waited for the bowl to be full enough to sustain them. I see the physical fatigue that has etched itself into your bones. I see the way you have carried the burdens of others until your own strength was spent. This heavenly flow is a tonic for your marrow. It is an infusion of life into your very cells. I am reversing the wear and tear of the wilderness. Where the world says you should be brittle and exhausted, I say you shall be vibrant and renewed. Your youth is being restored like the eagle. Because the source of your strength is no longer your own adrenaline, but my cascading grace. There is a melody beginning to rise from the depths of your spirit, a song you haven't sung in a lifetime. It is the song of the redeemed, the song of the one who knows that the drought is truly over. You have been a student of sorrow for a long time, but now I am enrolling you in the school of joy. And this joy is not a fragile thing that depends on your circumstances. It is a robust, unshakable gladness that flows from the knowledge that your Creator is obsessed with your well-being. Wait for the moment when the water hits the roots of your deepest, most private pain. You know the one, the secret grief you have tucked away in a corner of your soul, the one you think is beyond repair. Watch as the oil of my spirit seeps into that crack. I am not just patching you up, I am making you whole. I am rewriting the narrative of your history so that the scars no longer speak of the wound, but of the miraculous healing. You will look at your past and no longer see a series of tragedies, but a sequence of divine setups for this very moment. I'm also calling forth the buried talents you hid away because someone told you they weren't practical or profitable. Who told you that I cannot monetize the impossible? Who told you that your art, your words, your unique way of seeing the world was a luxury? In the economy of the tipped bowl, your creativity is a currency. It is a bridge for others to cross into my kingdom. I am placing a fresh mantle of authority on your shoulders. You will find yourself speaking with a clarity and a power that surprises even you. People will see a shift in your countenance. They will see the radiance of one who has been standing under a waterfall of favor. Do not rush to dry yourself off. Stay in this downpour. Let it soak through the layers of your defense. Let it dissolve the armor you built to protect yourself from disappointment. You don't need that armor here. The rain is your protection. The overflow is your wall. I am surrounding you with songs of deliverance. In the coming days, you will notice random encounters that are anything but random. You will receive phone calls that offer solutions to problems you haven't even voiced yet. You will find that the very people who overlooked you are now seeking your counsel. This is not because of your striving, but because of the scent of the rain upon you. The fragrance of heaven is beginning to cling to your skin. It is the smell of blooming jasmine and ancient cedar, the scent of a garden that has been watered by the breath of God. As you walk into rooms, the atmosphere will shift because you carry the humidity of my presence with you. The dryness in others will be drawn to the moisture in you. You are becoming a carrier of the overflow. But remember, the bowl is still tipping. There is more in the vessel than you have yet seen. We are moving from the spray to the stream, from the stream to the river, and from the river to an ocean of my goodness that has no shore. Let my love settle the tremors in your hands. You have been holding on so tight for so long, afraid that if you let go, everything would fall apart. I am asking you to open your palms. Let go of the control. Let go of the how and the when. The bowl is already tipped. The gravity of my promise is already doing the work. Your only job is to remain under the spout. Your only task is to receive. Can you do that for me? Can you allow yourself to be cherished? Can you accept that you are no longer in a season of not yet, but in a season of already? The sound of the abundance of rain is no longer in the distance. It is a roar in your ears. It is the heartbeat of my love for you, pulsing through every drop. We are deepening the current now. We are going where the water is deep enough to swim in, where your feet no longer touch the sandy bottom of your own limitations. Come further. Come deeper. Let the warmth of this celestial water envelop your entire being. I see the way you have looked at the empty spaces in your cupboards and the silent corners of your heart, wondering if the drought would ever truly break. You have lived in a state of spiritual dehydration for so long that you began to mistake the thirst for the destiny. But watch now as the golden rim of that heavenly vessel tilts further still. This is not a momentary sprinkle to get you through another week. This is the breaking of a dam that has held back your inheritance for generations. Do you feel the shift in the pressure? That heaviness you feel in the air is not the weight of your burdens. It is the density of my glory beginning to occupy the rooms you've lived in. I am walking through the hallway of your memories right now, those places where you locked the doors because the disappointment was too sharp to look at. I am pouring this celestial water into those very crevices. I am soaking the old wood of your foundations until they expand and become strong enough to support the new structure I am building. You thought you were just surviving, but I was seasoning you. I was preparing you to be a reservoir that would not crack under the pressure of the outpouring. Think of the nights you spent staring at the ceiling, calculating the math of your survival, trying to stretch a handful of oil and a little bit of flour to last another month. I was there in the kitchen with you. Every whisper of "help me" that you breathed into your pillow was caught, not in a bottle of tears alone, but in this great golden bowl of incense. And now, the fragrance of your faithfulness has become the catalyst for your breakthrough. The very things you thought were lost to the wind, the years the locusts ate, the dreams that seemed to wither on the vine, are being rehydrated. They are not just being returned, they are being resurrected with a vitality you couldn't have imagined. Can you smell the rain on the pavement of your past? I am washing away the grit of the long walk. I am softening the calluses on your heart that you grew to protect yourself from the hurt. You don't need those walls anymore, for the water of my love is a better defense than any stone you could pile up. I am looking into your eyes, the ones that have grown weary from watching the horizon for a sign that never seemed to come. I am telling you, look down at your feet. You are already standing in it. The puddle is becoming a pool. The pool is becoming a lake. I am specifically touching the areas of your creative life that felt like a dry well. That project you set aside, the song you stopped singing because the melody felt hollow, I am breathing into those things now. You will find that the words flow without the grinding of gears. You will find that the colors are more vivid than they were before the desert season. I am doing a work in your family that you cannot yet see with your natural eyes, a quiet saturation of the hearts that have been hardened by pride and distance. Just as the moisture in the air eventually softens the driest clay, my presence upon you will begin to soften them. You won't even have to speak the words. The humidity you carry will do the talking. It is an irresistible invitation to return to the Father's house. I am addressing the physical weariness in your bones. Some of you have felt an exhaustion that sleep couldn't touch, a soul-deep fatigue from carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. I am immersing you in a bath of restorative grace. Let the water of this bowl soak into your joints, into your nervous system, into the very cells that have been screaming for rest. I am your Sabbath. I am your replenishment. As the bowl continues to tip, notice how the light catches the water. It is not just clear, it is iridescent, carrying the many-colored wisdom of my kingdom. This wisdom is falling upon your mind right now. Solutions to problems that have plagued you for 3 years will suddenly appear as if they were always there, hidden in plain sight. You will have a knowing that surpasses your education. You will navigate the complexities of your career and your relationships with a divine intuition, because you are drinking from the source of all knowledge. Do not be startled if you find yourself weeping for no reason other than the sheer beauty of being seen. These are not tears of sorrow, but the overflow of a heart that is finally being understood. I know every secret fear you've tucked away, every what if that keeps you up at 3:00 a.m. I am drowning those what ifs in the I am. There is no room for anxiety in the deep water. In the shallows, you worry about the rocks. In the deep, you simply float, supported by the buoyancy of my promise. We are moving past the place where you can touch the bottom. I am asking you to let your feet lift off the sand of your own logic. Trust the current. It is not taking you toward a waterfall of destruction. It is taking you to the center of my heart. Feel the warmth of the water. It is the temperature of my passion for you. It never cools, never fluctuates. It is a constant, surging heat that melts the ice of every rejection you've ever suffered. You were told you were too much or not enough. But in this ocean, you are perfectly sized. You are my beloved, and my desire is toward you. The bowl is leaning further now. The rush of the water is getting louder. Can you hear it? It is the sound of chains snapping under the weight of the flood. It is the sound of gates swinging open that have been rusted shut for decades. I am not just giving you a drink. I am changing the landscape of your entire life. Look ahead. Do you see how the desert is already beginning to bloom with crocuses and lilies? That is the trail of the water you are carrying. Everywhere you go, life will spring up. You are a walking oasis. Take another step. Don't look back at the dry land. It no longer has a claim on you. We are going deeper, into the places where the light and the water become one, where your identity is so saturated with mine that you forget where you end and I begin. This is the union I have longed for. This is the answer to the prayer I prayed for you before the foundations of the world. Stay in the flow. Let it wash over your head. Let it fill your lungs with the oxygen of heaven. There is so much more I want to show you in these depths. Things that can only be seen when the surface of your life is completely submerged in me. The water is rising above your waist now, and the weight of it feels like a firm, loving embrace, steadying your knees which have often trembled in the secret places of your life. Do you remember that blue chair in the corner of your kitchen? The one where you sat in the gray light of dawn last Tuesday, clutching a cold cup of coffee, and wondering if anyone saw the invisible load you were carrying. I was there. I was the silence that didn't feel like an absence, but a holding. Every sigh you exhaled into that room was caught in this very bowl that is now cascading over your head. You thought those moments were empty, but they were the construction of this miracle. I am bringing the flood into the very rooms where you felt the most isolated. I am flooding your bank accounts with the provision that comes from my storehouses. Yes, but more importantly, I am flooding your perspective so that you no longer see a lack, but an opportunity for my glory to manifest. Look at the specific worries that have acted like splinters in your soul, the concern for your son's wandering heart, the nagging fear that your best years are behind you, the tension in your shoulders whenever you think about the future. Watch them now. As the water from the tipping bowl touches those splinters, they are being drawn out by the sheer force of my love. I am not just a God of the big picture. I am the God of your Tuesday afternoons. I am the God of the quiet, awkward moments at the grocery store when you feel out of place. This water is saturating your identity until the word rejected is washed off your skin like cheap ink in a summer storm. I am rewriting your name with the finger of my spirit on the tablet of your heart. You are called desired. You are called sought after. You are called the one in whom I am well pleased. Can you feel the shift? The landscape of your family tree is being irrigated. The bitterness that was passed down like a dark heirloom is being diluted until it is gone, replaced by a sweetness that will define your children's children. You are a circuit breaker, my love, because you stayed in the place of prayer, because you let your heart break before me rather than hardening it against the world. The bowl has tipped for your entire lineage. The water is reaching into the basements of your subconscious, into the places where you hid the shame of things you didn't even do, but were done to you. It is all being swept away. The current is taking the debris of every no you ever received and using it to build a bridge to your yes. I see you looking at the water and fearing you might drown, but I tell you, you were made for this element. You are not drowning, you are finally learning how to breathe. This is the oxygen of the kingdom. It tastes like joy and smells like the morning after a long-awaited rain. Look ahead. Do you see the horizon? It is no longer a flat line of limitation. It is a shimmering, golden expanse where my promises are taking physical shape. That project you abandoned because you felt unqualified. The water is lifting it up, bringing it back to your hands, but this time, it is infused with a grace that will make it effortless. That relationship that felt like a dry well. Watch as the overflow from heaven finds its way into the cracks of that broken stone, filling it until it bubbles over with a new, tender language. I am doing a work so deep that it cannot be undone by the storms of the world. This is not a temporary shower. It is a permanent change in the climate of your life. You are moving from a season of drought into an era of saturation. Every time you felt like you were shouting into the void, you were actually adding another drop to this massive vessel. And now, the tipping point has been reached. Gravity, the gravity of my grace, is taking over. You don't have to pump the well anymore. You don't have to carry the buckets. Just stand, just be, just receive. I am washing the dust of toil off your hands. You have been a Martha for so long, worried and bothered by many things, but in this flood I am making you a Mary, seated at my feet even as the water rises. And here is the secret. From this place of rest, you will accomplish more in a day than you did in a decade of striving. The water is carrying the weight. The current is providing the momentum. Your only job is to stay submerged. Can you feel the warmth of my passion again? It is intensifying. It is the fire that does not consume, the heat that only brings life. It is the fire of the burning bush meeting the flood of the great river. They do not cancel each other out in me. They merge to become a light that can be felt. You are becoming a beacon. Those who are still in the desert will see the mist rising from your life, and they will come to you, not to see you, but to find the source of the water you carry. You will tell them about the bowl. You will tell them that their prayers are filling one too. You will be the living proof that I am a God who hears, a God who remembers, and a God who overflows. Do not be afraid of the depth. We are going deeper still, past the memories, past the expectations, into the very core of who I created you to be before you ever drew your first breath. There is a song there, a melody that hasn't been sung since the stars were born. I am going to teach it to you now, in the quiet of the deep. Listen with your spirit. Can you hear the rhythm? It is the sound of the bowl tipping over and over again, an eternal cycle of ask and receive, of hunger and satisfaction, of me and you, forever entwined in this glorious rising tide. The shoebox in the back of your closet where you hid the sketches and the stories you thought were foolish, I am breathing on those too. I am bringing them into the light. Nothing is lost in this water. Everything is found. Everything is made new. Do you feel that? The current is shifting. We are moving toward the epicenter of my heart, where the silence is so loud it sounds like 1,000 waterfalls. Do you hear the way the silence hums? It is the vibration of my delight over you, a frequency that matches the very pulse of your heart when you are at rest. Within this roar of 1,000 waterfalls, there is a distinct note, a singular chord struck just for you. It is the sound of your name as I first spoke it into the void before the foundations of the world were laid. Look closely at the water cascading from the bowl. It is not merely liquid light. It is the substance of every sigh you ever exhaled when you thought I wasn't listening. See that shimmering mist? That is the prayer you offered when you were 10 years old, the one for the bird with the broken wing. And there, in the golden swirl of the current, is the plea you made in that sterile hospital hallway, the one you thought went unanswered because the outcome wasn't what you planned. But look again. See how that prayer has matured into a strength you didn't know you possessed. It didn't vanish, it distilled. It became a nutrient in the soil of your spirit, preparing you for this very moment of tipping. The sketches in that shoebox, the ones with the smudged edges and the hesitant lines, you thought they were the remnants of a failed dream. You looked at them and saw only what you couldn't achieve. But I look at them, and I see the blueprints of the architecture I am building in your soul. Every stroke of that charcoal was a conversation with me. When you drew that gnarled oak tree, the one with the roots that looked like grasping fingers, you were sketching the state of your own yearning. I was there in the pressure of the pencil. I was there in the frustration when the perspective wouldn't quite align. I am taking those drawings now, and I am breathing life into their dimensions. What was two-dimensional and hidden is becoming a three-dimensional reality in your character. You will stand as that oak, rooted so deeply in my love that the storms of the coming season will only serve to shake the dead leaves from your branches, leaving you more vibrant than before. Think back to the kitchen table, the one with the ring from the coffee cup you left sitting there while you stared out at the gray morning. You felt so small then, so insignificant, as if the world was a vast machine and you were a forgotten gear. But in the halls of my dwelling, that moment was monumental. Your quiet endurance, your willingness to keep showing up even when the joy felt thin, was adding weight to the bowl. Every time you chose kindness over bitterness, every time you forgave the person who never asked for it, a drop of pure, celestial oil was added to the vessel. And now, the weight has reached its limit. The tipping is not an accident, it is an appointment. Do not try to catch the water in your hands, you cannot contain it. Let it wash over your feet, your knees, your heart, until you are submerged in the now of my presence. This is the suddenly you have been waiting for, yet it is a suddenly that has been centuries in the making. I am bringing back to your memory the forgotten perfumes of your childhood, the smell of rain on hot pavement, the scent of the old hymnal, the way the air felt right before a summer storm. These are not just memories, they are touch points of my grace, reminders that I have been weaving this tapestry since your first cry. I see the list you keep in the back of your mind, the if-onlys and the what-ifs. I am dissolving those lists in this flood. The if only I had been stronger and the what if I missed my chance, they are being carried away by the current. In my timing, nothing is late. In my economy, nothing is wasted. Even the years you think the locusts ate are being restored, not as they were, but as something more precious, like gold refined in the fire and then cooled in the river. The people who come to you will notice a change in the way you speak. Your words will carry the weight of this water. When you tell them their prayers are filling a bowl, you won't be speaking from a place of theory, but from the authority of one who has been drenched. You will see the drought in their eyes, the parched soil of their hopes, and you will know exactly how to lead them to the edge of the overflow. But for now, just stay here. Stay in the center of this movement. The rhythm is intensifying. The bowl is not just tipping, it is pouring with a momentum that defies human physics. Can you feel the shift in the atmosphere of your home? The corners that felt cold or stagnant are being warmed by the friction of my glory passing through. The very walls are soaking up the resonance of that new song I am teaching you. It's a melody of deep resonance, a low, steady thrum that anchors you while the world around you shakes. It is the song of the beloved. It says, "I am yours and you are mine." It says, "The waiting is over, yet the journey has just begun." I want to talk to you about the dreams you tucked away because they felt too big, too audacious for someone like you. You thought you were protecting yourself from disappointment by burying them. But I have been the gardener of those buried seeds. The water from the bowl is soaking into the earth where you hid them, and they are beginning to swell. They are cracking open. Do not be startled by the green shoots that start to appear in the middle of your everyday life. Do not be afraid of the growth. You have been in the dark for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to reach for the sun, but I am here to steady you as you stretch. We are moving past the expectations of others now. The roles you played to keep the peace, the masks you wore to be accepted, they are floating away on the surface of the water. You don't need them where we are going. Here, in the epicenter of my heart, you are stripped down to the beautiful, raw essence of your creation. You are enough. You have always been enough, not because of what you did, but because of whose you are. The bowl is tipping because I simply cannot contain my love for you any longer. It must overflow. It must flood every crevice of your existence until there is no part of you that is not saturated with my yes. Do you remember the bridge you used to cross, the one where you'd stop and watch the water move beneath you? You used to wonder where it was all going. Now, you are the water. You are the movement. We are flowing toward a territory you haven't seen yet, a landscape of colors that don't exist in the natural world. I am preparing your eyes to see them. I am preparing your heart to hold them. The silence here isn't empty, it's full. It's the silence of a masterpiece being unveiled. Listen. Even the waterfalls are hushed now, waiting for the next movement of the song. Can you hear it? It's the sound of the deep calling to the deep, and you are the echo and the answer all at once.